Bayern Munich 4, Manchester United 3. I'm joined by Stephen Howson. Another loss for Manchester United. Another shocking performance. 4-3 pretty much flatters United. You were saying just before then that Bayern didn't get out of neutral, let alone first gear. How was that so bad? What went wrong there? Well, I don't even know. There's too many things to list. What was so bad about that?
What was so bad about it is it was genuinely everything. It was genuinely from the starting 11 that we selected. It's basically, you've brought Palestri in, cool. We haven't changed anything by doing that. It's still been a midfield two with Bruno ahead of him of Casemiro and Eriksen, which has proved multiple times this season that it's not fucking worked, especially against teams that are gonna maybe dominate the ball against you. Like, I really require us to see something different out of the gaffer's team selections in that, or in terms of the way the team's going to line up. Too often, I mean, the first goal, who's picking him up? Yeah. How are you allowing people to run off inside the box and no one's going to pick him up? It was Joe. It was everything. It was genuinely everything. It was like we didn't pass well, we didn't transition well, attacking or defendingly. We didn't recover inside the box. I mean, there was at one point I noticed Scott McTominay had been on the pitch a handful of minutes, 6 tops. The ball has gone into United's box, whoever it was, might have been Coleman at the time, as he's not had a shot, he's not put a final ball in, he's sort of held possession inside our box, turned around and looked to maybe recycle possession a little bit from inside our box. Scott McTominay is jogging back into the box where they've got more men in our box than we have. And you're like, does anyone fancy putting a fucking shift in here? Like, it was, like, starting 11 is the thing that you can throw. Starting 11 and tactics, that's the thing that you can go, I don't necessarily think that was the right thing to do. I probably would have gone with McTominay, despite the fact that he didn't know how to fucking run into a box, ahead of Eriksen. Because I just think you needed legs in this game. More than anything else, you needed people that were going to be willing runners and a defensive threat a little bit. I don't want to see people talking about, we just scored 3 goals. It was a close game. Those two things can be completely unrelated. Yes, we scored 3 goals. I saw that. We did not at any point look like we were going to win that game. Not one. Maybe about first 10 minutes aside, looked like we might be able to score. But did you have any hope that it was going to be sustained whatsoever?
No. And it's becoming a trend now, a theme, isn't it? That we have a good 10, 15 minutes and then the momentum slows down a bit. And we started doing this thing, or, you can tell me if I'm seeing things here, where every time we got the ball, we just rushed it and we gave it away. And then they had possession for 2 or 3 minutes and we get it and we rush it and we give it away. And we saw it against Brighton, we saw it against Arsenal, we saw it against Tottenham in the second half, we saw it again today. We look like we're panicking. And that, like you mentioned before with McTominay, and it's not just him, but he's a decent example, that isn't tiredness, that's willingness. What is going on where a player who's been on the pitch for 5 or 6 minutes, and we saw it with some of the starters after 15, 20 minutes, look like they can't sprint, they can't turn, they can't run. I put it in our review down to willingness and effort. Do you think there's more than that? Do you think it's a fitness issue? Because why does every team we play against look fitter, faster, and stronger than us? That can't be the case, surely.
I think that what this team needed wasn't loads of football games in the summer. We played more games than anybody else did last year. Yeah. You can make the case that, all right, well, if we're going to amend any of our tactics, they're going to need time to embed that. Yeah, okay, I'll hold my hands up and say I accept that to a greater or lesser degree. But when you look at how many games United played last season and then how many games that we've played during pre-season, and we didn't even have like a handful of the people that we're expecting to start for us now in the team at that time. So you can't even say, well, we got to get all the new players used to how we're going to fucking play. All right, cool. Well, who the fuck are all these lot that are playing for us right now? And Amrabat's not played a single minute with us at the moment. You're going to be expecting him to do whatever for the rest of the season. What was the fucking point in learning whatever we were going to learn in pre-season? They might have been better having a rest, one game, a night on the smash, and start the fucking season for the way it's gone. Because we look drained. We look drained. We don't have any sort of fucking shape whatsoever. And I know I'm trying to be rational here with it and go, we started bad last season. We had peaks and troughs last season. We have started in a trough this season, and there will be a climb out of it and a peak. Probably quite soon, looking at the run of fixtures that we've got and if we bring Amrabat in and manage to actually start putting some sort of a team run out together. But fuck me, does it look desperate at the moment. Like, it's hard to say we'll be fine, because here's what it looks like at the moment. It looks like we ran the legs off Casemiro last season, and that guy needs a fucking Butlins weekend at least somewhere. You need Amrabat in the team to give you a little bit of progression and solidity in there, and probably a little bit of energy in the team. You need the striker to be able to play a full game and be, not fit. You need a decision made what's going to happen on the right-hand side, whether it's going to be Palestri that gets that opportunity. Is Jadon Sancho finished playing FIFA? Can he come and fucking put a shift in maybe? Or is he just getting fucked off? Like, there is so many fucking dramas at the club at the moment. Like, I don't even know where you start to unpack. Like, do you start with the selection? Do you start with the lack of fucking willingness to run? The lack of willingness to back your teammates up? So many times our back four was isolated against an attacking 5 or 6 of Bayern. You deserve to lose if that's going to be the case. Like, I watched Union Berlin versus Real Madrid, and they were so fucking unlucky not to come away with a draw. So unlucky not to come away with a draw. They had opportunities on the counter, but for a lot of it, they soaked it up. And they were really unlucky to concede in the manner that they did. United went to Bayern with a team only a fucking step above, and maybe not even, above Union Berlin, and thought we would try and go toe-to-toe. Bayern Munich turned up with a 4 out of 10 performance and battered us. Yeah. Like, they didn't even try. That was a proper fucking D- effort from Bayern Munich, and it was easy for them.
It was bizarre, wasn't it? And we were saying before, the fact that whenever we scored, they just went, right, okay, we'll score just to make sure you don't get too close. And they just scored straight away. We score, we go, yeah, come on. 2 minutes later, they score. 20 minutes later, we score. Yeah, come on. 2 minutes later, they score. Like, whenever they needed to. There was no
sustained pressure from them, was there? There was no fucking mullering.
No.
Like, they really just sort of, like, exhibition gamed us.
Yeah, they didn't have to do anything. Like you said, it was like a testimonial game where you just show up in spells. You can't really be bothered. Bayern just did what they wanted, and then they won comfortably. Looking forward then, because I was saying before, and not to just reference that all the time, but this is like, could go two ways now. This, over the last decade, I've seen how these sorts of runs can end. It can end with, well, we had no option but to get rid of the manager, and they can end with, we've turned it around. It was a bit of a blip, and we move on. How do we make sure it's the latter and not the former? Because I know obviously the result, losing by a goal in the Allianz, isn't usually a sort of sackable offence. But if the next 4 or 5 games don't go well, how social media is, how this team can be, where they just start losing every single week. How do we make sure that doesn't happen?
It's 3 straight losses.
Yeah.
That's the top and bottom of it. It's 3 straight losses. United don't lose 4. Or when you start looking at it, it's however many and however many. Like, it ain't fucking good enough. Now, nobody realistically looked at Brighton and Bayern and was like, 6 points, not a problem. Like, I don't think anyone with a fucking brain in the red was thinking that. But you've just gone to 2 teams that have a different take on the same style, right? And they've both done exactly what they said they were going to do. You've conceded a fuckload of goals. Is it 14-4? Something like that we've conceded? Yeah. Is it?
I'll have a look.
Whatever it is, 5, 14-5, 14-4. Right? That's too many fucking goals. Far too many fucking goals to concede. And you're not scoring enough to justify just tossing it off at the back. That's down to the entire team. It starts with the gaffer. It starts with the team. Like, you have to defend better. And when people can poke holes into what you're doing defensively and say, who's picking men up inside the box? Who's transitioning into the box? Who's going to actually fucking bother their ass to run? This isn't high-level analysis that you're talking about here, where Bayern have just done something like revolutionary against you. They just put men in the box, and we didn't put more than they did in the box, and they found the free player, and that guy scored a fucking goal. Are you kidding me? Literally, if Paddock concede that goal, I throw a fucking chair at someone. Yeah. Let alone watching Manchester United doing it in the fucking Champions League.
Yeah.
It's not fucking acceptable. And it's not acceptable to see the way that we're tossing it off and running in. So you go, yeah, how's it going to get better? There's too much to fix. You have to pick one of the 49 fucking things that are a drama and try and solve that ahead of the next game.
It's 14 goals in the last 5 games.
Your list of reasons to be positive.
I've got some of those reasons to be positive, but I'll be honest, I ate most of that list in frustration tonight, so I'll have to try and piece that back together. 14 goals in the last 5 games United have conceded, which is obviously just shy of 3 goals a game. Yeah, it's absolutely horrendous. It's insane. We've conceded 3 goals in 3 games in a row for the first time since, I think, 1989, 1987, something like that. It's just... yeah, some of the worst football we've seen.
My worry is, I think I said this to you when we did that podcast episode, actually. My worry is there's so much noise around the club at the moment. Yeah. I believe Ten Hag is the man to do it. I don't think he's got a squad capable of going toe-to-toe with Bayern Munich, but he also has to take a little bit of responsibility for not maybe adapting and trying to play on the back foot and go, listen, I haven't got a team to go toe-to-toe with Brighton at home or Arsenal or Bayern Munich, so let me try something else.
Yeah.
Because you've just had the same performance for the last 3 fucking matches with nothing to say about it. Like, it's not. So my worry is there's that much noise that sometimes changing a manager seems to change the narrative of everything, seems to change the news cycle, because rather than talking about how this ownership has failed, they'll talk about the new manager and this, that, and the other. And I do worry that is something that they'll flip to.
Yeah.
And is it always before Christmas that they've got rid of?
Moyes made it till after Christmas.
It was December for Jose. It was FA Cup final for Louis. Obviously, he got to the end of the season, didn't he?
Yeah.
Ollie was December as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Or back in the November.
Yeah. Yeah, that nuclear
Christmas,
option is always there, but surely not. Surely we've seen this play out too many times for that to be accepted again. But when you start losing games, who knows what happens? Right, that's going to be all from us. Thank you very much, Steve, for coming on. Bayern Munich 4, Manchester United 3. Too many things to fix, says Stephen Howson, and unfortunately, I can't help but agree with you on this one. We'll see you in a bit.